Hello, Kingdom. I am King Gregory. We are in this together. There's nobody else besides us because we in this together. If you're new, welcome to the kingdom. You know, I am the king. You are the realest. You can be whoever you are. We are the best kingdom, and nobody have the chance to go against us. So welcome. So today we gonna get into my series again. You know, my scary stories in North Carolina. We're gonna get back into that series. We're gonna see some other scary places in North Carolina that you do not know about. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it just like that. I'm reading off the computer because I have my notes on here that I took personally. So make sure you get a snack or a drink because I already got my food right here. We're gonna get into it just like that. The Battleship North Carolina in Wilmington, North Carolina. The Battleship North Carolina was commissioned in 1941 during World War II. So you already know that this ship is already haunted if it's happened in 1941. That's why I would never go on to like a museum or something like that. Cause that's where most stuff is haunted. One event where the Japanese torpedo struck the ship and killed 5 men. One of the young men had died in the washroom, and many people say his spirit is still there till this day. You know, I feel like most places that's like military zone or was military zone have a lot of people whose spirits are still there because like that's where they died at, or that's where they feel mostly comfortable with all these times they've been there. So I feel like that's where most things would be haunted, you know. There also have been sightings of other spirits in the hallways, portholes, hatches, doors that are opening, closing on their own, sound of running and sound of objects being in the air. Like, I don't know, that's so weird. Like, just imagine you just walking down a hallway and you just see something floating in the air. Like, what the hell is that? Like, you see a whole bullet in the air just sitting there. If I see a bullet in the air and just sitting there, just floating, yeah, I would have ran because you know bullets don't have eyes, so that goes to like oh shit, you know, you gotta, you know that little kid, you gotta that little, you know, shoot. But people say they feel like they are being watched. People feel like there's something near, but it's only them. They to the person with them. They feel like it's a weird feeling. I mean, let's be real though. If you ever experience like a spirit contact or a ghost contact or any non-human foreign contact, excluding animals, I mean, it would feel weird because you feel like you have eyes on you. I mean, that's anywhere though, you know. But would you go to this battleship? Let me know. Now, this particular next story really hit me. Well, it didn't hit me, but it's like it leaves me like, yo, that's a good story. Now, this might, you know, might get some people because this takes place in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's where I'm from. So it might, you know, it might hit home for some people. Like, oh shoot. But you know, I got the DMV. DMX.
But you know, I got the DMV. DMX.
I don't know. I said DMV. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess him up. But DMX, the legendary. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this place is in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's called the Duke Mansion. I know some of y'all heard of Duke Mansion. You know, the one with the where it events of weddings and some funerals and some honeymoons. You know, that big old house in Charlotte. Like, that's a big ass mansion. But the history of it, all right, John Avery is the former owner of the mansion. He had an affair with a young writer while his wife was unknown about it due to her mental illness. So, he had an affair with a woman who was a young writer at the time. He had a wife who was mentally ill. Like, she was, mentally ill. Yeah. And she didn't know nothing about it. So Avery told a young writer that he would come to her dead or alive. but it wasn't clear if he was going to leave his wife. So what that indicates was he went to the young writer and said, I will come back to you and be with you dead or alive. But the young writer asked if you going to leave the wife or not. But he didn't answer that question. So the young writer told him she cut the ties with with John because she didn't want to interfere in that relationship or their marriage, which is a smart thing to move. I mean, that a man is married or in a relationship. Why would you want to interfere with that person? So he got all devastated and depressed because he started loving the young writer. So guess what he told her? He told her to meet him in the same spot. It was in a garden, of course. Meet him in the same spot a year later at 12 o'clock a.m. So at this time, I guess the young writer wasn't thinking about what that means or anything or what he said previously. So a year later, it happened. Everything happened. She was engaged. She had little kids. She was doing good for herself. So she remembered the plan to meet John in a garden at midnight. So she was engaged, so she didn't want to come along. So she brought her husband or her fiance, you want to call it, with her to the garden. So they got there early, 11:50, 11:49, what you want to call it, and so. Right, she was told her husband at, if once 12 o'clock he here, it's time to go. Fiance, at 12 o'clock, it's time to go. So he said, okay. So this is in the middle of the garden. She right here, the fiance walked away. So the fiance don't know what's going on. He just looked at the garden. So right when 12 o'clock got there, the fiance still looking at the flowers. So John came up. But he looked so pale. He was all, because at this time it's nighttime, so you can't really see. So all she saw, he looked so pale, like you could see right through him and everything, right? So he just walked by and looking all pale and sad. So this where it get creepy, right? So just listen to what I'm finna say, right? Listen to what I'm finna say. So when she saw him, she tried to reach her hand out to like that, but John walked right through her hand. And she had her flashback saying, dead or alive. So basically, John had died a few days ago without her knowing. And she remembered that he said he would come back to her dead or alive. And he died because of depression, because of loving, because he wanted to love, the young writer. But he also was depressed because his wife died. So he wanted to love both. But, both have moved. One moved on, one died. So it made him die. And this happened days, like 2 or 3 days ago. So he just died recently. I'm saying, like, that's fucked up. But, to this day, in Charlotte, North Carolina, a lot of people say they still see John's spirit in them gardens. And it's crazy because, like, I don't even know when this happened, but, like, I feel like it's in the fear. So people would react who have a fear. It would be like the 1950s. 50s or 60s, because that's when most people had a fear, and people would, you had a fear, like all that other shit. So, I feel like that was 1950s, but it's 2021, and people still see his spirit. North Carolina, Charlotte, like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Like, people say he don't harm anybody. That's what people say. People say he don't harm anybody. He just standing there in a garden looking looking pale and sad. Like, well, these two stories were creepy, but the second one, that really, was a plot twist for me. It was because I was thinking, for me personally, I was thinking like, like, come back, I wasn't even thinking about dead or alive. So, I wasn't even like, he just saying, how people just say that. I wasn't thinking, I didn't know like there was a purpose behind that saying. But guess who not going to that Duke mansion? Me, because it look big and all. But that ain't my specialty. That ain't. But anyways, let me know what you think of these two stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you can be notified when the king have arrived with a new video. Follow all the links in the description below. And remember, you are in the best kingdom there are. Speak into existence. We are in this together. Don't forget that. Period.
Pretty like Naomi, Cassie plus Lorman. Spitting like Wheezy, Foxy plus Lorman. Boy like the rain.